Sylvia Morales stood on the bow of Cedar Hollow Council's dented aluminum pontoon, squinting into mist that smelled of fish and midnight gasoline. Behind her, 7 scouts, 5 boys, 2 girls, ages 11 to 15, gossiped about the prize money for the town's annual Lake Monster photo contest. $10,000, Max whispered, balancing his camera on the railing. For a picture of the cedar serpent, that's my Nintendo budget for life. A real snake couldn't stretch across that many paychecks, Jade told him, but a made-up one could. Sylvia tried to smile. She was 29, with a constellational scatter of freckles she'd never outgrown. Troop 314 depended on her sense of humour, but tonight it felt rubbery and thin. The contest had always been silly fun, a way for tourists to crowd the lakeshore cafes, while locals got paid in laughter. This year, though, something was different. The ghost ship rumours had spiked phone views. The lake's single marina was booked solid with amateur monster hunters. She caught Scout Liam tapping his flashlight against his thigh in that staccato rhythm anxious kids can't suppress. Easy, she told him. Nothing dangerous out here but sunburn you can't see yet. The words tasted false the moment she said them. Somewhere in the darkness a bell clanged, the buoy out by Sunken Reef, or the anchor chain of a boat that had no business drifting this close to shore. 10 minutes later the fog parted and the shape appeared. White hull, 3 decks of veranda rail gleaming with bluish light, and a ragged Union Jack flapping in wind nobody felt. The Lady Fern, lost in an 1897 storm, according to local legend. It glided across the cove without engine growl or paddle wheel churn. Max's camera beeped. So did Jade's. The scout's breath puffed like cartoon ghosts as the temperature seemed to plummet. Sylvia's own phone stayed inside her chest pocket. She stared, unmoving. The apparition coursed behind a rocky knuckle called Smuggler's Point and vanished. Not sank, vanished. In the hush that followed, she heard the soft lace sound of oars. A wooden rowboat nosed from the same fog bank, manned by a single figure in a hooded slicker. He didn't wave. He only crossed the lake, tugging at the oars like a metronome, until the mist swallowed him too. "Nobody tell me that was normal," Liam said, voice wobbling. Sylvia inhaled to lecture them. Tricks of light, optical illusions, but the words dissolved. She'd seen stage magic. This was tighter, cleaner. If a magician pulled that off, Vegas would throw him a penthouse. "We head back," she said. "I'm calling lights out early, contest or no contest." Back at Eagle's Nest campground, the scouts climbed into tents. Sylvia stayed up, scratching notes by lantern. For tomorrow's safety briefing, she wrote, "Warn them never to chase a phantom ship." Then she underlined it. At 2:17 a.m., a sheriff's cruiser bumped the dirt road. Deputy Clay Howard stepped out, hat in hand. "Need you to wake your troop, Ms. Morales. We have an incident." An incident meant the entire contest would blur into before and after. Gavin Pierce, professional wildlife photographer and last year's Serpent Prize winner, had been discovered floating face down near Smuggler's Point. The coroner labelled it drowning. Spectators whispered murder. Sylvia felt a lead weight drop through her spine. She'd shaken Gavin's hand that afternoon by the concession stand. He promised her scouts a tutorial on telephoto lenses after breakfast. Now he was zipped in a body bag. Deputy Howard interviewed the kids separately. When he left, Jade crawled into Sylvia's lap, a 15-year-old who'd sworn off hugs last year. This time, she didn't protest. Hours later, headlines launched on every regional newsfeed. "Death darkens Lake Monster contest." Reporters swarmed, the prize grew to 15,000, and the Lady Fern's legend metastasized. 3 days passed. The scouts were restless. The campfire smelled like despair. Came here for merit badges, didn't sign up for true crime, Liam muttered. Sylvia agreed. She also believed fear became manageable when you named it, mapped it, pushed back. That night she met with the troop in the mess pavilion. Gavin wasn't the first to drown out there, she said, pointing at a corkboard map. 3 unexplained fatalities since the ghost ship started showing 2 summers ago. Cedar Hollow calls them accidents. I call them a pattern. Are we investigating? Max asked, eyes sparking. Observation, not vigilante heroics. You'll record what you see from land. I'll do the risky parts. As troop leader, she could not encourage misbehavior, but she could harness curiosity, keep them inside the rails. They fashioned a schedule: sunrise, shoreline watch, notebook logs, cross-referenced weather data. Jade coded a spreadsheet on her phone. Liam used binoculars maxed with duct-taped smartphone zoom. Sylvia borrowed the pontoon again, alone, to recheck Smuggler's Point in daylight. She found reeds trampled into spirals and a plastic food wrapper stamped Lakeside Marina, property of Brodie Madsen. Brodie, cedar-jawed local entrepreneur, ran the only boat rental in town and co-hosted the photo contest. Gavin had argued with him publicly last week, a spat over staging. Sylvia replayed the memory. Gavin, face flushed, shouting, "Photography's about reality, not carnival tricks." Brodie smirked, said something about entertainment value, and the crowd laughed. Back at camp, Sylvia opened her notes. Fog, cold snap, bell clang, vanishing ship, rowboat, Brodie. She circled them all, then flipped to a fresh page labelled How. 1. Projection. But on what? Fog curtain thick enough? 2. Physical ship with lights, needs power source. 3. Why fake? Money from tourism, insurance, diversion. A knock buzzed her mind. Power source. Where could you hide a generator on a calm lake without engine noise giving you away? Maybe you didn't hide it on the lake at all. That evening she brought the troop to Sunset Bluff, a promontory that overlooked the water. Across the cove, cedar forest dipped toward a short peninsula. A derelict boathouse perched there, roof sagging like wet cardboard. Sylvia passed binoculars. One by one the kids murmured, "Whoa!" Through cracked boards, a bluish pulse winked, same hue that kissed the ghost ship's veranda rails. Sylvia's phone compass measured angle and azimuth. The beam pointed exactly where the Lady Fern appeared. Someone was running high luminosity projectors from that boathouse. With the fog as screen, the trick could float any image. A steamer with tattered flag, rigging lines, smokestacks. Throw in hidden speakers for the bell and water slosh, and you had a turnkey haunting. "Why kill Gavin?" Jade whispered. "If he found the setup," Sylvia answered, throat raw. "He might have threatened to expose it." The scouts demanded they call Deputy Howard. Sylvia hesitated. Ghost ship fraud was one thing. Homicide required evidence, and Brodie was embedded with half the county's Chamber of Commerce. Howard might shrug unless the proof glared undeniable. "We catch them in the act," she decided. "Tonight." The plan, scribbled on the cooler lid, had 4 points. A. Scouts pair up in safe zones: campground dock, ranger tower, North Shore overlook. B. Sylvia piloted the pontoon, silent running, electric trolling motor, toward the boathouse. C. When the projection began, Jade texted the go signal. D. Sylvia recorded the machinery, triggers, and anyone operating them. Only then would they alert law enforcement. Liam saluted. "Operation Unmask the Fern," he said. because kids cannot resist code names. They split at dusk. Fog brewed like milk poured into tea. On the pontoon, Sylvia kept lights doused. The outboard's normal engine was disabled. She'd borrowed the park's electric trolling motor. It hummed a kitten purr. Her phone pinged. Jade, Fernon, cold drop again. Visibility 50 feet. Sylvia neared the peninsula. The boathouse door was ajar. Inside, 3 floor-standing projectors cast white rectangles onto fog outside the broken windows. A 4th unit, smaller, sat on a tripod pointed lakeward, Gavin's own expensive Nikon DSLR attached as lens adapter. So they'd stolen his gear. Sylvia filmed everything. Resolution 4K, voiceover timestamp. She edged forward and nearly tripped on a power cable snake-bundled to a generator muffled by acoustic panels. Above the gear table lay laminated drawings. Side profile of a Victorian paddle steamer, labelled Lady Fern, plus a second folder marked Cedar Serpent, Phase 2. The Serpent sketches showed a segmented robotic body planned for underwater track lines. Next tourist season's upgrade, she thought grimly. A voice behind her froze blood in her elbows. Knew somebody had come snoop again. Brody Madsen stepped from shadows, baseball bat balanced like a third arm. His slicker hood was down. Moonlight glazed his close-cut hair. Behind him, 2 men from his marina crew blocked the door. Gavin should have minded his own business, Brody said, tapping the bat against his palm. He fell and drowned. That's what the papers say. Sylvia raised her phone higher, recording. Funny, I don't see water up here, and I know how to forward footage to 3 people with 1 button, including the sheriff. Brody's smile tightened. Then you also know cell service on this side's spotty. Dead zones everywhere. Like the one you're standing in. He lunged. Sylvia sidestepped, shoved a projector cart at him. The device crashed. Glass exploded into prisms. Sparks sizzled. The generator coughed. She sprinted toward a window, dove through rotted slats, and landed thigh-deep in reeds. Payne screamed, but she ran into the fog. Brody roared orders. Footsteps splashed. From the lake came an engine, her pontoon, unmanned, drifting. She'd left it tied, but not anchored. Idea struck, lure them onto water where scouts lay in wait. She splashed to the boat, climbed aboard. A familiar small figure jumped from behind the captain's seat. "Max," she hissed, "you were supposed to stay dockside." He held a rope coil. "Saw you go in alone, figured you'd need backup." Sylvia wanted to scold, but no time. Brody and crew burst from Peninsula's tree line, commandeered a skiff, motor screaming. Sylvia gunned her electric. The pontoon crept. Trolling motors are not built for chases. Wind flattened fog in streaks. Across the lake, spotlight beams carved the dark. Jade in the ranger tower had seen the commotion and aimed the park's searchlight. Brody's skiff gained fast. Max pulled out a flare gun from emergency kit. "That's last resort," Sylvia said. "We don't risk fire on water." Instead, she grabbed a handheld marine radio. Deputy Howard monitored Channel 16 per county ordinance. She pressed transmit. Nothing. Brody was right, dead zone. She needed altitude. "Max, take the wheel. Head for Beacon Rock." Beacon Rock was a jutting stack 20 feet tall, with a rusted ladder for adventurous swimmers. Max steered while Sylvia clambered onto bow rail. Brody's skiff rammed the pontoon's stern metal screech. The scout's gear spilled. Sylvia leapt to the rock ladder, fingers scraping metal. She climbed, felt Brody's bat swipe the pontoon canopy behind her. 2 rungs from the top, she hit send on phone. Video footage package addressed to Jade, Liam, Deputy Howard, Dropbox Cloud. Upload bar crawled, 1%, 2%. The rock's height gave just enough signal. The skiff engine idled below. Brody shouted, "Come down or your kid's fish food." Sylvia turned. Max stood braced between pontoon seats, flare gun levelled at fuel tank on Brody's skiff. His face was pure movie grit. "You hurt her," he said, "and I'll give National Geographic a new sun." Brody's gaze flicked, calculating. Pop, a red flare streaked overhead, not from Max but launched from Shoreline Dock, where Liam and another scout signalled emergency. The pyrotechnic arced, burst blazing white. Deputy Howard's cruiser siren wailed from campground side. Within seconds, additional boats knifed through the fog, park rangers and sheriff deputies. Jade's voice crackled on megaphone. "Step away from the pontoon, hands visible." The bar on Sylvia's phone hit 100%, evidence safe. Brody knew the war was lost. He tried throttling the skiff away, but a ranger T-boned him broadside. Officers boarded, wrestled him and his crew down. Handcuffs glinted like fish scales. Sylvia climbed carefully back to water, adrenaline dissolving into tremor. Max shook so hard the flare gun clattered. She wrapped him in her arms. Deputy Howard took statements until dawn pinked the lake. The scouts huddled in blankets, sipping cocoa. "So it's all fake?" Liam asked. "The Lady Fern, the serpent, everything?" Howard nodded. Brody rigged those projections, charged tourists for boat rentals, sold Lady Fern T-shirts, and planned a travelling monster experience. Gavin caught him recalibrating projectors, threatened exposure. They argued on the water. Brody pushed him. Presto, tragic accident. Sylvia added, "And next summer, a mechanized serpent show. Keep the hysteria fresh." Howard tipped his hat to her. "If not for this troupe's persistence, we'd still chase ghost stories." News caravans arrived by noon. Reporters fed lines into cameras about brave scouts and astute troop leader. Sylvia deflected shine onto the kids. Their notebooks, photos, and timing logs became key evidence. A Detroit TV journalist asked Max how he felt pointing a flare gun at a criminal. He shrugged. "I passed Fire Safety Merit Badge last winter." Within 48 hours, the Cedar Hollow Council suspended the photo contest. Brody faced charges: involuntary manslaughter, fraud, reckless endangerment. The boathouse became impound property, the equipment seized. But stories, like water behind a dam, find cracks. 3 weeks later, tourism brochures still pictured a misty paddle steamer. "Maybe Cedar Hollow got conned," the publishers wrote, "or maybe the con men copied something real." Sylvia poured coffee and laughed. Yet at night she reopened her field journal and under the heading Unsolved wrote one item: "Rowboat man with hood, no ID." That part the projection couldn't explain. She and the scouts had recorded no rowboat in sabotage gear. Brody's gang denied using one. Radar logs from the ranger station showed no small craft at that time within 200 yards. Sometimes myths piggyback on scams. Sometimes they predate them. Sylvia zipped the journal shut. She had committee reports, new camping debriefs, and a court date as star witness. The Cedar Serpent would return to legend where it belonged. But whenever fog thickened over the lake, she'd pause and listen for oars, counting heartbeats until the only rhythm was her own.